In our imaginary event space, we've got all of these at our tables. We're wearing our lovely boutonnieres. Now we want to add a little something that's become very popular as of late, and that is photo backdrops. We see these at all sorts of parties, and it really just kind of gives you a perfect spot for your guests to stop, snap a picture of one another, add it to their Instagram account, tweet it on Twitter, and put it up on their Facebook, and it's a nice memento and a memory from the occasion. So I'm going to set these aside, and the lovely Miss Kate is going to bring in one of our works in progress. But essentially what you're going to be doing is starting with a large piece of foam core. I'm going to hold this up partially so you can see it. These come in various sizes. Our guy here is roughly, what are we? We're about 33 by probably close to 40 inches. What I've done is I've taken this and I've measured 5 inches along all 4 sides and cut out the center section so it looks like a photo frame. Once you've done that, we can then apply flowers to the exterior of it, and it basically becomes a large ornamental floral frame that you can then suspend from the ceiling, allowing your guests to stand behind it. Let me sort of make a little room here for this big guy so I can get him up on top. So I did a little head start on this fella, and I'm going to lay it down flat on my work surface. It usually, sorry, let me rotate it here around. It's a little unwieldy, but it's typically easiest to construct this on a flat surface rather than hanging it up and doing it vertically, only because it allows the glue to set and gravity does its job and everybody kind of stays in place. So to do this, I have created a series of flowers that are a little bit smaller than the giant ones that we've created earlier. The exact same technique. I created the templates the exact same way. They're just on a smaller scale. Now these medium-sized ones, I was still able to use the staple during the course of construction. I think I had mentioned to you earlier, I also did some smaller, more diminutive scale ones. These guys, it was a little tougher to get the staple in there and secure it in that manner, and so I did end up using the hot glue gun to put all of those together. So you just want to be mindful. I did do a lot of pressing the pieces together using the eraser end of the pencil just to save my fingertips, although those did not remain unscathed. So with the leaves allow you to create a fewer flowers and cover up more of the frame. You can imagine this is a little bit of work. This is a couple of movies, you know, sitting in front of them, cutting out your flowers and constructing them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific pattern where you're matching colors on either side. You can choose to have it a little bit organic, mix up the colors with your palette. But I'm going to go ahead and start gluing these guys on. I'm going to have my extra glue sticks at the ready. But you can see how you could absolutely leave the foam core uncut into a solid background and hang it so that your guests could stand in front of it. But you'll see when we hold this up, it's kind of sweet to be able to stand behind it and have it frame you all together. So what I'm doing here is I'm really sort of guesstimating the position of my next flower and sort of using some leaves to frame it. So I'm applying the leaves to the foam core first, and then I'm going to go to my flower and just add a healthy amount of hot glue on the back of it and press that right down into place. And personally, my goal is really to obscure any of the white. If you want to embrace that, and maybe you're doing flowers that are all sort of like whites and creams, and you're doing this for a wedding, it might be aesthetically pleasing to leave portions of it where you can see the white foam core. That's not out of the question at all. Okay, and I've got what Kate was bringing in for me is I also created leaves in a little bit smaller scale. You can see these were the big giant guys that we created that were on the same scale as the ones that we used in our centerpieces, and then these are just a little bit smaller. I did, for the smaller leaves, switch over to a text weight paper, a little less heavy than the cover weight. And really what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of like filling it in spaces. Now, I do have to say that before I actually started gluing these down onto the surface of the foam core, I did kind of do a little trial run, and I gathered up all of my flowers and I just sort of started setting them around to kind of figure out, not necessarily specific arrangement, but more to make sure that it felt a little balanced and to make sure that I actually had enough to cover the entire surface. And I will likely end up with a few extra here today, which there's no harm in having a few extra flowers. Everybody in frame? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. Cheese. I love it.